What is going on, guys? It's Gospel Gamer here. We are back on Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc, and I don't have a fucking alibi! Okay then, seems like the game has begun. If I can provide an alibi for that period, then I just have to prove the murder didn't happen during the time I don't have an alibi! Oh yeah! To do that, I have to make it clear when the body ended up in the garden. Sprinklers are on a timer, so I'm going to go with that one being the one I need to shoot.
We've established a time frame for the murder. It took place somewhere between 10 o'clock at night and 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yep, and Makoto doesn't have an alibi for most of that time.
Yeah, from 10 o'clock to 7:30.
Okay.
That's more than enough time to commit murder, I should think. So Makoto, if you have any objections, now would be the time.
Okay.
We've established a time frame for the murder. It took place somewhere between
Fuck,
10
I'm gonna go
o'clock
for this one. Oh, it's right. Fucking hell. Give me enough of these.
Actually, the murder couldn't have happened anywhere near 10 o'clock. It had to have taken place way later.
Okay.
And what makes you say that?
Because of the sprinklers in the garden. The sprinklers are set to go off right at 7:30 every morning, right? So if the body had been in the garden before 7:30, then it should have been completely soaked.
Yep.
Oh, hold on! I remember this part perfectly. The body was wet. Dripping wet, in fact.
Yeah, but that's because someone chucked water on it to stop the burning from happening.
Sorry, Toko, but you're wrong.
I'm wrong? How? Are you saying only the mouth down south was wet?
What?
How dare you spew such indecent words!
The fuck?
I'm saying that the body was wet, but not because of the sprinklers.
What do you mean by denying the sprinkler? Are you trying to deny my entire existence?
Man, you're totally wacko.
If you really think it wasn't the sprinkler, you'd better tell us why!
I need to prove that it wasn't the sprinklers that got the body wet. All I have to do is hit Toko with certain evidence, and I should do that. If you look at the body itself, that should make it clear. Okay. Oh shit, it's one of these. Okay.
I admit nothing. I hate you. No, no, no! You don't know anything! Hold on! Are you trying to blame me? I admit nothing. I hate you. No, no, no! You don't know anything! Hold on! Are you trying to blame me? I admit nothing. Are you trying to blame me? I admit nothing. I hate you.
Yay!
How can you say
This should prove it.
Eat that. There we go.
Just remember what the body was like after the explosion, and you'll see why it wasn't the sprinklers. The top half of the body was wet, yes, but the bottom half was completely dry. If the sprinklers got the body wet, shouldn't the whole body have been wet?
Yep.
so they only got the top wet? The bottom was completely dry? What a brutal maniac!
I'm so sick of her.
She's such a weirdo.
Let's just move on. The reason only the top half was wet was because
You have to put out the flames!
while the body was still on fire, I doused it with water. But only the part on fire, the top half.
Oh, then I guess the sprinklers really didn't do it.
So if the sprinklers didn't get the body wet, then the murder must have taken place sometime after the sprinklers turned on at 7:30 in the morning.
Which means she must have been killed sometime between then and when the body was discovered at 9.
But Makoto's alibi was only missing from 10 o'clock last night to 7:30 this morning, right?
So there's no way Makoto could have done it. I guess you had an alibi after all. Good for you.
Good for me.
The only one left without an alibi is Kyoko.
Kyoko's the only one without an alibi. Which would mean that Mukuro's killer is... No, I refuse to believe it. Kyoko murdered someone, that's...
I'd just like to say one thing. If you vote for me, and I die here, the mystery of this school will stay hidden forever. Which is why I can't let that happen.
Okay.
So are you saying you're not the culprit?
Of course I'm not. I have no reason to kill anyone. This is a trap the mastermind has laid for us.
Okay.
We're this far into the game and now you decide to blame me? Stop wasting time! Stop wasting energy! You really think your little trick is gonna work?
Shut up, you!
You got it, boss! Shutting up now!
Anyway, Kyoko, you actually did have a reason to kill her.
What was the reason?
Huh? She did?
She thought Mukuro was the ultimate despair. In other words, the mastermind behind everything.
Right.
So she killed her to try and put a stop to all this. Isn't that right, Kyoko? But you made one catastrophic mistake. Mukuro wasn't the mastermind at all. And as a result, we were forced into another trial. Something I'm sure you weren't at all expecting.
So, that was her motive?
No, probably not. That seems a bit silly to be a motive, realistically, right? Sorry,
She
I've got
had a
fucking...
motive and no
But now
alibi.
it's
Well
mine.
then, I think it's pretty clear Kyoko's gotta be the culprit.
How is it pretty clear?
I'm not the only one without an alibi. Makoto's explanation is still insufficient.
No. Bouncing around between both of us, huh?
The sprinklers didn't get the body wet, but that doesn't mean the murder happened when he said it did.
What are you...
Because you see, there is a way the body could have avoided getting wet.
Interesting. I'm listening.
All it would take is covering the body with a certain something to keep it from getting wet.
Certain something at the scene was used to cover the body. What could it have been? Oh yeah, the top. Fucking hell. Forgot about that.
I got it! You're talking about the tarp, aren't you?
You catch on quick. You're right. All you'd have to do is cover the body with the tarp, and that'd take care of the water. In fact, that's exactly what the killer did. The dirt pattern on the tarp can attest to that.
Okay.
Only one side of the tarp got dirty, because that's the side that got covered in water. The side that faced down over the body, meanwhile, kept perfectly clean. This proves that the killer used the tarp to keep the body from getting soaked.
But why would they go to all that effort just to keep the body from getting wet?
Most likely so they could cloud the issue of when the murder actually took place. In other words, to create an excuse exactly like the one Makoto just gave us.
Okay. Why would Kyoko say that? Why would she want to make me look like the killer? No, I can't think about that right now. That tarp. If it was used the way Kyoko said, the tarp must have touched the body, right? But the body... Wait, something's not right.
What might
Oh
that
shit,
be?
that's actually him talking. Sorry. I can't worry about Kyoko's motivations. If I don't do something, everyone's gonna think I'm the killer. After a few what Kyoko said. Okay.
By covering the body with the tarp, the killer prevented it from getting wet.
Yep, probably.
So the reason the tarp was only dirty on one side...
Oh shit, no, the
was
wrong
the
one.
sprinkler got that side wet.
But the underside of the tarp, it was totally spotless, right?
It's because that side was protected from the water.
Right,
Since it was
sure.
facing down toward the body, of course it didn't get dirty.
There we go, got it.
No, that's wrong. Actually, one side being clean is pretty strange if you think about it.
Yep.
Because the blood wasn't dry before the body got blown up, right? The
So she
alchemist
had blood
said
on
it
that.
himself. Not to touch it, or you might get some on you. If you put a tarp on a body in that state, it absolutely would have gotten blood on it.
Well, maybe the culprit washed it, so nobody would know they'd used it.
If they had, they would have washed both sides. Just washing the one side wouldn't hide anything.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, true.
More than that, what if the very blood we saw on the body was meant as a kind of camouflage?
Huh? The blood was camouflage?
After the killer used the tarp to avoid the sprinkler, they then covered the body in blood that didn't belong to the victim.
You mean someone else's blood?
I know!
Oh, when the
They
chicken's
could've
gone.
grabbed some of the blood packs from the nurse's office. That's what Hifumi did, right? When he pretended to be dead?
No, that's not what
One
happened
of the
this
chickens, because
time.
there's one less chickens.
The killer got the blood from right there in the garden.
We got blood from right there in the garden. Chicken. That one.
I got it! Could it have been chicken blood?
What? Chicken blood?
When I checked the chicken coop before the murder, there were 5 chickens. But after the murder, there were only 4.
So, you're saying someone killed a chicken? And then
Yep.
covered the body with its blood?
Apparently so.
That's messed up.
Killing a living thing just to do something like that is awful. They should have at least eaten it.
Jesus.
I wonder if the killer had to get the blood from the scene so they wouldn't be spotted walking around. Anyway, there's no denying that a chicken went missing, which provides a basis for my theory.
Perhaps, but even so,
Where's
there's
the-
one thing
where's
that
the chicken's
still
body, by the
doesn't
way?
make sense.
Right.
You said the culprit used the tarp to avoid the water and then covered the body in blood, right? But if that's the case, then the blood should have soaked into the ground around the body.
Yeah.
But that's not what we saw. Only the victim's clothing had blood on it. The ground was completely clean.
I have to agree, that certainly is strange.
What is strange is why she's got the coat over her and then
Maybe
she'd
they
be stabbed
didn't
through
apply
that?
the
That's
blood
odd.
at the scene. Maybe they covered the coat in blood beforehand.
They covered it beforehand?
When you discovered the body, was it wearing the coat like you normally would?
I think so. Wait, no.
Yeah.
The head was through the neck hole, but the arms weren't in the sleeves.
Then that settles it.
Sorry, I'm having a tough time keeping up. What settles what?
Here's what happened. The murder took place before the sprinklers went off. But
Okay.
the body didn't get wet because the killer covered it with the tarp. Then, later, at the same time the killer was gathering up the tarp, they pulled the coat over the body. The coat they'd already covered in blood. This series of cover-ups was meant to disguise the actual time the murder occurred. They wanted
Okay.
us to think the murder happened sometime after the sprinklers had gone off.
If that's actually what took place, it certainly becomes possible that the murder happened earlier.
But to pull all that off, wouldn't they have had to go back to the garden after the sprinklers turned off?
That actually wouldn't have been all that difficult.
Huh?
They already had the coat ready, so they just had to grab the tarp and pull the coat over the body. They'd be done in no time.
Maybe.
Okay.
But still,
Hina, after you met up with Makoto in the dining hall, did you two stay together from that point on?
Oh no. I headed off to the gym, and Makoto didn't show up till
God damn it.
Then he had plenty of time to spare, wouldn't you say?
that's not...
Don't bother saying it's not possible.
God damn it.
I must admit, Kyoko's reasoning is sound. Makoto's alibi is inadequate.
And the suspicion falls back on me again. But why? Why is Kyoko trying to entrap me? Don't understand. Okay.
Well then, it looks like we're back to square one. Makoto's alibi is no good, so once again, our suspects are him and Kyoko.
For serious, man? Which one of them did it? Hey, why don't we let luck decide?
Oh my god,
Let's
don't
flip
let
a
luck
coin.
decide, that's stupid.
50-50 odds.
Oh!
See? Pretty good idea, right?
No, not that. I just remembered something super serious.
Well, don't just stand there. Out with it.
You know that knife we found all black and burnt?
One we found stuck in the body before it exploded, right?
Indeed.
According to the Monokuma file, the knife went all the way through, from front to back. So, what about it?
I'm pretty sure I'd seen that knife somewhere before. That's what I thought when I first saw it.
Come back to me.
I just remembered.
Listen, more important. Now we have this knife. What are we gonna do with it? We can't just let Toko keep it. That's for sure. We didn't know what she might do. I don't want it anyway. So what to do? Why don't you hang on to it, Makoto? Huh? Me? There we go.
It's the knife we gave to Makoto?
You don't seem surprised. You must have noticed earlier.
Yeah.
Then why did you hide that fact?
It's not that I hid it. It's just...
I couldn't be sure what actually happened last night. I thought maybe I really did kill her.
Suspicious. Very suspicious indeed. The knife we found stuck in the body came from Makoto. Now I'm totally convinced he did it. 12,000% convinced.
12,000%? That's not percentage, mate. Considering everything up till now, I should be able to make it clear. I have to prove that I didn't murder anyone. I'm not the killer. Okay. But she didn't... Okay, whatever.
The knife we found lodged in the dead body.
It's the same one we gave to Makoto.
It really is, isn't it? I was afraid of that.
If he did have that knife before, and that seals it. Makoto
I didn't do it. It got stolen.
Just because I had the knife once, that automatically makes me the killer?
Well, getting stabbed is what killed her, right?
Oh no, it's not.
So
No, it's not.
there's
Fuck.
question.
That's what I need to shoot. That's what I need to shoot.
Horrible man you are, Makoto. The knife we found is
Because,
the same
like,
one.
if the body's disguised, that wasn't
Did
what
have
killed
that,
her.
that seals it. Just because I had that automatic?
Well, getting stabbed is what killed her.
No, it's not.
No, it's wrong.
Blow to the fucking head.
Wait, hold on. The stab wound isn't what killed Mukuro. That should be clear from the description of the cover-up we just heard.
Lies! We never talked about what killed her!
No, don't you remember?
It was in the
killer
Monokuma files,
covered
fucking
the dead
head
body
fucking
with
butt.
tarp, and then put the bloody coat on it, right? In other words, the victim never wore that blood-stained coat until after they were dead.
Yep.
Okay, fine. So what?
So, when we discovered the body, the knife had been thrust through the...
Oh, fuck, I accidentally skipped it.
Meaning, if she
What up,
wasn't
mate?
stabbed until the coat was put on, and she was already dead at that point, obviously the stab wound isn't what killed her.
Maybe you stabbed her twice. Once to kill her and once to cover it up.
Sure, whatever you say, mate. The victim was stabbed twice in the same spot? No, there's no way that's possible. The exact condition of the body was written down for everyone to see in Monokuma file.
I got it!
Boom.
The Monokuma file clearly states that there was only one stab wound.
Oh yeah, it sure did. Totally forgot about that.
Fucking idiot.
Then the knife...
Was just another piece of camouflage set up by the true killer. They probably stabbed her to draw attention away from what actually killed her.
Just a blow to the head.
Exploding the body afterward was probably meant to do the same thing. The explosion severely damaged the body, making it impossible to know what really killed her. It was all the killer's attempt to destroy all evidence of their crime.
Yep.
So they wanted us to notice the stab wound and then detonated the body afterward. They meant for us to latch onto the knife as the cause of death, then destroy any evidence proving otherwise.
Oh, hey, I have a question. It kinda goes back to the beginning, but what's the deal with that explosion anyway?
It was using the bomb
Why'd
from the
body just
dismantled
blow up
Monokuma,
all of a
wasn't
sudden
it?
like that?
If you bothered to put that lump of gray matter between your ears to use, you'd know the answer.
Well, if you're so smart, just tell me.
I'll tell you. I bet some unknown quantum
God,
particle
what an
caused
idiot.
atomic level spontaneous combustion.
I might be dumb, but even I'm not dumb enough to believe that.
Damn.
Go ahead, Makoto. Tell her or we won't make any headway on this.
There's only one explanation I can think of for the explosion, which is the fragments next to the body.
I got it! After the explosion,
This is one of the easier ones, to
we
be
found
fair.
a
Like,
tiny
I don't understand why this
fragment
one's so
of
easy
something
compared to
on
the
the ground near
previous
body,
one.
right?
Obviously, like, when it comes to picking
That
someone, I
fragment
don't clue,
reveals the
but
cause of the
these
explosion.
bits which are coming up now seem reasonably easy.
Huh? You know, I feel like I've seen something like it somewhere before.
That's only natural. Because, of course, we saw the same thing when we dismantled Monokuma.
Yep.
It's part of a bomb.
Oh! Then the explosion was because of the Monokuma bomb.
Indeed
Anyway,
it was,
the
indeed it
culprit's motive is
was.
becoming more and more obvious by the minute. They wanted the knife wound to look like the fatal injury so that we'd suspect Makoto.
Yep.
And the only one who would benefit from that is the only other possible suspect. You, Kyoko.
Dun dun dun! I'm going to leave the episode here. If you like this video, don't forget to leave a like in the section below. If you want to see more of this, and do subscribe to the channel, as I upload every day. Thank you for watching, I'll see you next time. Bye bye.